Hey guys, Kevin Cleary here with just a first sort of overview video. It's not really a first impressions because I've actually had this knife for a little while now, much longer than I have a knife before I do a first impression. So we'll call this like a quick overview or a teaser for the full review. This of course is the CRKT snap lock designed by Van Hoy. And you know, this is a knife that I've been curious about for a long time. This was kind of a thing when I first got into knives. There was some talk about it. And CRKT re-released it this year with a slightly better steel. Still not a great steel, but a slightly better steel. And otherwise very, very similar to the original one. Now I can't remember, maybe someone could comment below whether this bead blast finish was on the original or whether it had a satin finished blade. I do think a satin finished blade would look really cool on here and contrast nicely with everything else being bead blasted. Now, of course, the big thing that stands out about this knife is the action. You can see it works by that cam sort of spreading out the two sides of the handle so that the knife can be unlocked, and then you can see, well, let me show you that one more time. So watch as the blade gets close to where it's fully open, see how that pops closed? And so now the knife is locked, and I've got to say, it's really solid. Like, there's no blade play, and I was a little bit worried that there would be, but what a cool design. You've just got this little cam here that opens the handle and allows the blade to deploy. The other thing that's cool about this knife is it's super fun to play with, as you can see just by watching this video. Very different looking knife, and I wouldn't call this a great EDC folder. As a secondary knife or as a knife to carry, you know, at those times where maybe you don't feel comfortable with a knife and you want to just have something that's probably not going to bother anyone, I think this is a pretty safe option that way. By the way, this is ambidextrous. If you move the clip from this side, let's see, can you move the clip? You could, but I don't think this clip would fit on the other side. Anyway, the clip is the only thing that stops this knife from rotating 360 degrees. So you can see, right, the only thing stopping me, if I took this clip off, this would go right all the way around. And maybe I'll do that. That'd be kind of an interesting thing to see. Now, my initial impression on this, again, is, you know, it's kind of an interesting novelty knife. It's nice as a secondary knife. I think it's pretty sheeple friendly. Even non-knife people are going to be pretty impressed with the way this knife actuates. So I think that's a benefit for sure. Let me get you a size and weight on this and finish off with a couple little comments here about who I think might be interested in this guy. So let's see, closed length, since we've got it closed, is going to be just over 4 inches, like 4 3/16. You can kind of see that there. Open length, just 6 1/4 inches. So obviously shorter than I like to carry. And the blade length on this guy is about 2 5/8. So again, shorter than I like to carry, but I would not consider this a primary knife. I wouldn't carry this as my EDC for the day. I would carry it, you know, as a backup knife, or, you know, as a knife that I could carry or as a sheeple-friendly knife that I could use, you know, if I'm carrying my Recon 1 one day or something like that. And you guys know I do have a few knives like that. Let me throw this on the scale and get you a weight. 2.5 ounces, so very, very lightweight. Pretty unobtrusive in terms of carry. Now I do think this ships with a lanyard, so you could carry this as a neck knife. I feel that it's too heavy to be a neck knife, I really do. Maybe you'll disagree and maybe you carry one around your neck all the time. It's not my bag. I just feel like that's way too much weight to have hanging around my neck. But I may give it a try before I do the full review just so I can speak to it a little bit. Let's see here. In closing, I think this is a really cool knife. I think this is a way that you can carry a knife around non-knife people and get away with it pretty easily just because it's such a cool little you know, gizmo, if you will. It's sort of got that steampunk feel. I feel like if you know, if you've ever seen the updated version of The Wizard of Oz where Dorothy goes back to Oz, I think this is the knife that you would find there, where everything was a little bit steampunk in that offering in that fairly poorly received movie that came out. Anyway, cool little knife. I will do a full review on this coming up. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Are there some of you who own this knife? Do you think it's just a complete waste of time? Is it just gimmicky? Or is it a useful tool that just happens to also be pretty cool in terms of its operation? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.